The cycle is now complete. Again. Yeah, it's funny. I made him come from my right my right yesterday, and now it's my left today. Although I don't think I've ever made this bear sit to the left of me. It actually would make sense. I am left-handed, therefore, should anyone try and steal this little guy from me, if it was on my left side, it'd be more difficult to do because, again, I'm left-handed, therefore is my dominant hand, so, yeah, there you go. So, yeah, in case you had no idea I was left-handed, now you do. First things first, good morning and happy Sunday, everybody. I hope everyone had a lovely evening last night. You know, I, pretty much stayed in and, I wanted to, go out and do stuff, but it was just too cold and windy. I just came back from my workout and, I'm showered and clean and ready to take on the day in spite of my appearance right now. Basically I try and look good for the camera. But again, it's Flannel February. I'm going to support my friends, so during the weekends, I will rock the flannel pajamas. Which, I actually like this set of pajamas. I like it a lot. It feels like I'm adulting. I am so totes adulting when I'm wearing these flannel pajamas. And the bathrobe is nice and warm. Actually, on a cold day like today, seriously, I think it may have actually gotten colder in the last over 24 hours from when I did my 12.3 mile run yesterday. Although it does remind me, now that I've done 12.3 miles for 3 weeks, now I gotta up the mileage. Oh boy. I am very confident in my ability to be able to do it. I'm not worried about that at all. What I am worried about is, I've actually been doing a really good job of keeping these runs sub 2 hours. And the thing of it is, I'm not even upping the distance by that much. It's not even a whole mile. Which, again, you would think it's actually 0.9. See, 12.3, and next Saturday I'm going to be running 13.2. So again, not even a full mile. The problem is, I've never been able to run a sub 5-minute mile. If I couldn't do it back in the days of running cross country for both Trinity Poly and track, there's no way I'm going to be able to do it now. I have run sub 5:30 once before. In fact, my PR is 5:28. But the problem with that is the circumstances outside were different then than they are now. By that I mean it was warmer. I was wearing probably the lightest clothing I could possibly wear. And I'd actually undergone some, legitimate hard work and training via, track practice. Because that's when I ran that, mile PR was during track. Outdoor track. Actually, it was my senior year at Gettysburg College. So, yeah, for the fact that my time there was winding down, that's a high note to go out on. That was really cool. So, I thought a lot yesterday about, because there are some Raider reports and TP tales I do want to talk about at some point. But here's the thing. There's only so many I could do of each, and so I want to use them sporadically. And, I myself am subscribed on YouTube to a lot of things. Of course, anything Trinity Pauling related, yeah, of course I'm going to be subscribed to that. But, one thing that caught my eye in the, because, YouTube has this sort of algorithm where it recommends stuff that you should watch if you like this one thing, therefore you would like watching this other thing. It was actually something called A Chapel Talk. Again, I never named names, but he did have a nickname, And all my Trinity Pauling brothers would know this man as Papa Bear. Actually, I should probably back up for a second. See, when I was at Trinity Pauling, we would start the day, pretty much every day, at having a morning chapel service. Not long, just about, like maybe 20 minutes, a half hour long. Nothing too strenuous, really. And every day, we'd sing an opening hymn. There would actually be this chapel talk, which I'll get into more in a second, and exiting to to our morning classes. A chapel talk, ladies and gentlemen, is basically, a student or faculty member or even a guest would walk up to the podium in the chapel and, say whatever they wanted to talk about, or say like a story or whatever, or anything like that. Obviously the prefects each had their own chapel talk. Actually, one of the best chapel talks, by my recollection, was, actually there are several really good ones, but one I'm thinking of right now is one of the people I was definitely closest with, and the director, writer, and producer of the McDonald's Mafia did his chapel talk on The Legend of Zelda. He actually made a really great comparison where, your freshman year is the Forest Temple, your sophomore year is the Fire Temple, junior year being the hardest is the Water Temple. It was awesome. And, one of the nicest people I'd ever known. He was actually a year younger than I am. He's actually 2 years younger than me because of the whole PG thing, but he was a junior when I was there for my PG year. He actually did his chapel talk on the concept of perception versus reality. You could have, a pretty big guy. You could play World of Warcraft and be playing as a really, big guy, like bigger than I am and muscular and everything. And turns out you could be as small as, well, definitely a bigger person than this bear. I can assure you of that. So, yeah, those are a lot of fun. And, I watched, and this was an old chapel talk I saw. It was actually, I think a couple of years ago, when Papa Bear, because Papa Bear is actually a Trinity Pauling alumni himself. He actually did it for his 50th reunion. And it made me think a lot about, my 10-year Trinity Pauling reunions coming up. And, there was a lot of emotion, there was a lot of weight to it. It was, just hearing that made me think, what I gotta do a TP Tales on Chapel Talk, first of all. I had to do that at least once, so here I am. And so, yeah, now I'm doing that. But it made me think really a lot about what my time at Trinity Pauling really did mean to me, and how, whether I would even realize it or not, I end up making videos every day. So, I also bring this up because, if you could believe it, I never did a chapel talk at Trinity Pauling at all. I mean, the option of doing, you certainly had the option of, doing a chapel talk if you wanted to, and if you didn't, no one would ever hold it against you if you didn't want to do it. But, sorry, itch on my head, excuse me. But at the same time, and that was always the problem, because anyone from Horseheads who knows me, and the Trinity Pauling who knows me, knows that I have no problem with public speaking. I don't. If I can perform on a stage and sing in front of an audience, then really public speaking isn't that much different. The only real difference is there's actually a tune or music to what I'm saying when, I'm voicing my melodies when I'm singing, as opposed to just basically talking for public speaking. I guess if you want to be really deep or technical, maybe every video that I do every day is, in fact, a chapel talk, if you really want to, if you want to look at it that way. And if you do that, then, you know, that's great. I'm not gonna hold that against you. But, yeah. I never did a chapel talk at Trinity Pawling when I was there. Maybe someday. I would like to do one. Yeah. But again, it's one of those things where it's sort of like the option of whether or not you want to, where I want to have another pet. I mean, I had 2 cats growing up. And they both obviously are no longer with us. In fact, one of them passed away a couple weeks after I arrived at Trinity Pawling. It was very sad. I'll actually never forget when it happened, because it was the first time my mother and father had come to see me run cross country in an actual race. It was actually a quad meet. It was us, Deerfield, I forget the other 2 schools. I'm very sorry. But yeah. And I asked how Snowy, that was the name of my cat, was one of the cats was doing, and there was silence, and then I'm like, yeah, I kind of figured. Because my cat Snowy actually had diabetes, and so, you know, you had to give it, you know, insulin. We had to give him insulin shots. We actually prolonged his death by about 6 weeks, so that was pretty cool. He got to live a little longer. That's nice. But I knew that the time was up. I mean, do I wish I was there to this day? Yeah, but, you know, I can always look back on the experience that, you know, I did have a pet. And, you know, would I want one again? Maybe. But if I go the rest of my life without having a pet, that's okay too. Although if I do have a pet, it can't be anything too dangerous, because I'm not letting anything bad happen to this bear. But funny enough, when I asked how Snowy was doing, it was actually eating pizza at Mama's. So, yeah, that's one reason why Mama's really has a special place in my heart. Because, I mean, I'll explain. It was a very sad moment. Don't get me wrong. Don't misunderstand me. It was a very sad moment. But, you know, we all need to feel that emotion, that deep sort of emotion of loss at some point in our lives. We do. It's, do we want to do it? No. Are we going to like it? Absolutely not. But we need to feel that loss. You know, it's one of the most humbling and honestly human experiences you can have. So, yeah. It was a sad moment, but through it all, I'll never forget what happened. I'll never forget where I was when I heard these news, and I hope to, well, one day go back to Mama's and enjoy a nice slice of pizza. That'd be really nice. I would love to do a blind taste test of which is better, Agnello's and Corning or Mama's, because I did mention once that they're both neck and neck in terms of the best pizza that I personally have ever had. Like, I believe I've used this analogy before. You get 2 test scores back. One of them's a 98, and the other one's a 99, and like they're that close, basically. And I could switch it on a dime. And that's always another thing too about whenever I thought about doing a chapel talk, is what would I talk about? What would I contribute? What would I say? Well, even to this day, I don't know. That's why earlier I said, if you really wanted to be technical, maybe you could look at these videos that I do every day as a chapel talk. And if you do that, that's great. But, you know, as of right now, I've yet to know the experience of doing one myself. And, well, do I want to do it one day? Or if I was given the option of doing it one day, if someone asked me, Nick, do you want to do a chapel talk? I would say yes, but I would hesitate a little, because, again, what am I going to say? What am I going to contribute? What could I what advice could I give to the students at Trinity Pawling right now that would be, instrumental in, carrying on with your life? I don't know. But it would be fun to try. And, life moves on. I never really had an opportunity to mention this on December 14th or the 20th, but one thing that I have noticed is that when someone sadly passes on, the world is going to keep on spinning. It was like that long before we arrived here, and it's going to be like that long before when we're gone. I'm okay with that, though. Because through the highs and the lows, I've had my life is far from over, don't worry. I've experienced quite a bit in life, I think. And there's a lot more still to come. Am I ready for it? Absolutely not. Again, how can I be ready for something if I don't even know what's coming? But that's the nice thing about it. You don't know. And I guess Forrest Gump was right. Life really is like a box of chocolates. You really don't know what you're going to get. That really is a good movie. I should probably watch that movie again. Seriously, I'll never forget, I hated the movie Forrest Gump when I was a kid. Partly because of, if you know what happens in the movie, and if you're a kid watching that, you would know why. But now I absolutely love it. In fact, if it's ever on TV, I will stop whatever I'm doing. I will watch it. It's that good. Wow, I went from Chapel Talks to my dead cat to... This is quite an emotional day, isn't it? I really am going through the grief. I'm going through the 5 stages of grief, only it's the loss of football season, and now I'm going through, I guess, acceptance? Yeah, it's acceptance. Because if it was depression, I'd probably be crying right now. Funny, when did I cry is the thing. Well, I guess you don't really need to cry if you're depressed. Crying is a beautiful human thing, but, it's just either happens or it doesn't. But these videos are going to happen every single day, and that's awesome. So, like, favorite, share, and hit that subscribe button. I could really use the support on YouTube. Follow me on the social media platforms, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Tumblr. And as always, I am very humbled I made this video for all of you guys to watch and enjoy for today. I'm hoping we have a wonderful Sunday. And remember, if you guys don't want to talk or chat, I'm always going to be here to lend an ear, and I'll always have your back. Take care, and make good choices.